Over the past couple of years, it's been proven time and time again that YouTube drama is extremely profitable. But there's never been a clear formula on how to best approach the YouTube drama in order to make it the most profitable it can be. But finally, after many years of research, 2019 is the year where we have concocted the perfect formula to create the most efficient and profitable YouTube drama campaign for your channel. It can all be done in 3 easy steps. But before we get into it, I'd like to introduce the sponsor for today's video, Halo Beauty. Are you ugly as fuck? Maybe insecure about your body? Well, all those problems can be solved for only $55 a month. Buy these recolored vitamins and be confident in the fact that you're not supporting a sleazy company that advocates for the unwanted sexual conversion of straight men. We aren't sexual predators. Support Halo Beauty today. So step 1 of this process is the most complex and definitely is going to take the most time and effort and is going to be the big money maker for you. And that's the big manipulative video to hook people into your drama and get them invested enough to go after the person you're targeting in the video. Most people call this mob mentality. There's a couple criteria to maximize the effectiveness of this video. Number 1 is to make sure the video is at least 40 minutes long. That way people may forget points you made or forget to fact check anything you might have said just because there's so much information and the video was stretched out to such a long degree. Or in the best case scenario, they don't bother watching through the entire thing and they just take you at face value from the first few minutes.
He tried to ruin me. He tried to ruin me. Ruin my credibility for the worst.
There's a couple ways to meet this 40-minute quota. I recommend really long sighs, pauses between speaking, repeating words a lot, acting as if the video is not scripted, and repeat the criticisms and egregious actions of your target in multiple different ways.
I've done nothing but support your stupid ass. I've done nothing but support you countlessly. Even when you're in the wrong, I support you. I've just done nothing but support you, but fuck yourself, especially when they're supporting you through everything. Supporting you.
I feel like I've said my piece. I don't know what's gonna happen next.
Now next you want to make a compelling title. Usually to set the dramatic tone you would want to make it something very simple. 1 sentence with only a couple words in there to really sell the impact of the video. Number 2 is to act super emotional, like this is a raw, kind of recorded off the cuff type video despite it being extremely planned. If you're not extremely emotionally invested into this drama, here's some acting tips to make you seem more invested. First, you have to mention that you've been in a dark place. This is important for 2 reasons. 1, it shows how great of an effect this person has had on you negatively, and 2, it makes you less liable for any mistakes you might be called out for in the future after making this video. Beyond that, I just generally recommend repeating over and over how much this person has emotionally damaged you. Maybe mention how you've gained their trust and it's been such a great relationship and then they didn't have your best interests and they backstab you. They're being a bit of a scumbag, they're being mean, etc. Just kind of repeat that in a very serious tone and in a way where people don't really realize you're repeating unless they actively think about it. Again, the most important thing to do is to make it feel like this is a raw, genuine, off-the-cuff video that you just had to make to get all these feelings off your chest. If you're a woman, I highly recommend crying on camera. It's the perfect tactic to get people emotionally invested. If you're a guy, you can also do it, but you gotta be a lot more subtle due to the social implications of your gender. I mean, you don't want to look like a pussy, but you also want to make sure that the audience knows that this is a super serious and deep video.
Here are the nominees for performance by an actress in a leading role.
I wanted the opportunity. Fuck. I had wanted the opportunity to...
Also mentioning how much you've given to this person and how ungrateful they've been in return is a really good strategy because it implies that they don't deserve the success that they've gotten and will further incentivize people to unsubscribe to the target.
I had a lot of influence at the time. You know, my channel was much bigger. Come on my channel, do my makeup. My husband would spend hours on the phone looking over contracts, getting him in a better position. So we helped him get into a style hall back when basically no one wanted to work with him.
Next up is coming up with the allegations themselves. Now, in order to make the most convincing allegations possible, is to base it off of something that happened in the public eye, but establish that they did it out of malicious intent based off private information that people other than yourself and the person in question are unable to verify. So that way people are unable to verify if your claims are true or not, but are inclined to believe you based off the emotional manipulation we set up earlier. If your target has already given a valid explanation to the claims you are making, just say that they're lying, being dishonest, and you have stacks and stacks of receipts to swing back at.
My receipts are like stacked thick.
The cool thing about this is that you actually don't need any proof or receipts for this to work. I'll get into that in a later step. Now here comes the best part. After your video is uploaded and you've successfully manipulated the audience, you finally get to see the fruit of your labor. I guarantee that your daily sub growth will grow by an enormous amount, while your victim will start to lose subs at a rapid pace. This is when YouTube AdSense kicks in, community support kicks in, there's hundreds of videos coming out by other creators commenting on your situation and how you are in the right, generating even more publicity for yourself, and then you can use that to even promote a product if you want to, getting millions and millions of dollars in the process. But this won't last forever. Usually you have about a week until the recipient responds, completely dismantling all your claims. So during this time you want to concoct a damage control video, which is step 2 of this process. The first and most important thing you need to establish in this video is that you're surprised that your target is losing a bunch of subs and you don't want to send any hate to them.
I want to share with you guys that I do really want the hate to stop.
Now this on its own doesn't really make any sense because your last video clearly seemed like an attack video. But what you explained in this video is that it wasn't an attack video, you were just defending yourself. And the only way you could get through to this other person is by making a public YouTube video about it. Act as if your target is so absorbed into social media and YouTube drama that they can only address things publicly and only get to the bottom of things if you explain it in front of a huge audience. Trust me when I say your audience will believe you. They are that fucking gullible. Besides those two things, you can largely say whatever you want, as long as you never go back on what you said in the previous video. You can downplay it, you can ignore some certain aspects of it, make it seem like it wasn't as big of a deal, to kind of soften the blow for your eventual debunking, but what you gotta establish is that your first video was made not to manipulate people, not to attack your target, but because you were left no choice. That is kind of the vibe you need to get across to kind of establish that you're still a good person even after you get debunked. Now, once a debunked video comes out from your target, you gotta navigate the eventual hate flood that is gonna come your way in a very precise way in order to minimize damages and maximize profits. First, as soon as the response video comes out, you gotta tweet out that you stand by your points and everything you said in your video was true, to let people know that your intention was never malicious and that you stand true to what you said in your initial video. Sit on that tweet for about 24 hours and then release a video mentioning that you're moving on and you decided that everything should be now resolved in private because the public outcry is too much for both of you to handle. This way you don't admit to lying to people, but you also seem like the mature one that's putting an end to the public back and forth. Some people will call you out for starting the drama in the first place, but there'll be a good mixture of dumbasses who believe you and people who don't believe you but really don't give a fuck because there's been so much content on the drama already and they're fatigued, that the people in the middle end up being the vast minority and your damages end up being very minimal, especially in comparison to all the profit you made when you released your initial video. And really the only people who got hurt in the process is the person you targeted, but it only lasts about a week, so overall it's a lot less damaging and messy than how dramas were previously concocted in the past. And voila, you've gained millions of new views on your YouTube channel. Now, if something goes wrong during this process and you haven't gotten satisfactory results, there's one last tactic that I have for you. It's pretty extreme, I don't recommend using it all the time, but if you are super desperate, it can help you out. Make a new video, channel up all your frustration from not being satisfied of the results of this campaign, and force yourself to have a meltdown on video. That would definitely help bring in some remaining sympathy from the other side, and hopefully stop any bleeding you might have accidentally caused through following this guide. But that usually doesn't happen, so be sure to follow these steps to concoct your own perfect YouTube drama. And when you do make your drama video, be sure to credit this guide, or else you might find yourself being the next victim of mob mentality.
Now we don't take no L's, no we don't take no L's. Spend 5 racks on the tag, spend 15 on the pearls. No we don't take no L's, no we don't take no L's, nah. Spend 5 racks on the tag, spend 15 on the pearls, No we don't take no L's, no we don't take no L's.